Today I'm making some fermented leeks. It's a good way to use old leek, basically. When you just think you need to dig up all your leeks and throw them out, you can dig them up and chop them up real fine. Add some salt, put them in a jar and have them as fermented. Okay, how can I got from that? The idea is to pick some leeks that aren't actually flowering. And so if you look at the leeks, you can see this one's flowering.
Right.
This one's flowering, and ideally we don't have them when they're flowering.
Peel it.
Peel it, chop off all the yellow leaves. And that's a pretty good leek. And then I make a slit down here. And then we're going to take it to the well and we're going to wash it. With the really fat leaves like this, you kind of know they must be flowering. When they flower, they get really fat. So now for the washing. And I think we'll go down here. When you've got a lot of leeks to clean, it's easier taking the leek to the water than the water to the leek. But it's important to wash leeks because they get earth down their leaves. So although they can look clean, they're generally not clean. This is where I'm doing a slit, and then I'm going to wash them. Turnips float, but beetroot sink. I'm fine. If you're on a grinding ship, what I say is grab the leek. Grab the leek and the turnip, but don't grab the beetroot. This will drag you down to the bottom.
my obsession is, well, that was a nuisance. I put some stone wall there, and we've got a new stone causeway down to. It was always here it got muddy. Get the one that would leak out. Okay, so here's where we need it.
Nice pickles here.
Yeah, my turnip pickle. Had a really good season on turnip pickle.
Oh, is that the little leek thing?
They're my baby leeks, yeah. So the advantage of making pickles on a rainy day is that you can do something indoors when it's raining. And the advantage of making pickles on a sunny day is that you can make them outdoors. And who wouldn't want to cook outdoors? Just gonna get my breadboard. And what I basically do, I'm going to chop up all the leeks into this bowl, and then I'm going to transfer it into a pot to pickle it. The basic idea is I take a handful of leeks. Leeks aren't as easy to cut with mandoline as cabbages. I think the mandoline must have really been made for cabbage. But the advantage is you get really thin bits of leek. And the thinner the leek, the less obnoxious the taste. Now, what I say about my leek pickle is that the thing, I mean, you have to like leek. It tastes very strongly of leek. And I tell people that you can have it, but it does have magic properties, and it transforms you into a leek for 24 hours after you've had it. So, yeah, you've got to like leek.
Are you saying that you smell like a leek afterwards?
You smell like a leek, you feel like a leek. You just feel like a leek, because when you have a lot of leek, and it's raw leek, you just feel like a leek. I hate to chuck anything out, so I tend to do quite a few green leaves, but I will see. I'm going to put this to one side, and I'm going to chop that up with my knife at the end.
Yeah, I'm wondering how far you're going to go.
with these leaves.
Yeah.
I know. can't remember last year. I have a feeling maybe I used a few less. Going down, you see. The trick with the mandolin is to have it wedged in between your stomach and something else, because then it can't move. The idea is to try and use as much as I can.
You got there?
Salt. This is the only ingredient that we need for the leek pickle. Although I'm thinking that I'm not going to be able to fit everything in here. Put in a layer of leek. I put in some salt. I don't measure anything out. I like salt, so I always manage to make sure I add a bit extra. And then the secret is to pack. This is when you really get to use your fist. And you just start packing. Pack it tight. And the thing about the salt is it makes the leek, it makes the juice, the water in the vegetables come out. And so if I pack with salt, I'll basically, they'll start producing their own water. The idea is to pack it so hard that the juice comes out, and yes, by the end it's going to be sitting in their own juice. This is where, if you've got fresh garden vegetables, you really see the difference, because vegetables that have been sitting in cold storage don't have the same juiciness. And the thing is, there are other ways you can add water. If you don't have enough water in your vegetables, you can add water. So I do like 2 or 3 handfuls of leek, and I do a small fistful of salt. This is good Celtic sea salt. I got it from a family that collect it themselves. I exchanged it, 2 bags of salt for 1 book. So people ask me sometimes if I do exchange, barter, and the answer is never, except rarely you find a product that you actually want. In this case for me it was salt. I think salt's the only product really that it's worth buying as a subsistence peasant, and everything else you can basically produce yourself. So I'm actually having a lot of success here. So you can see how it's getting on. I've still got some space. The hope is to fit all that in, but we shall see.
all into the one pot?
Well, if I could, it would be nice, but then we need to fit the weights in as well to keep it down. Something's telling me I'm not going to be able to fit a lot more leek in here, but I can feel that the liquid's in there. So basically the idea is I pack it in, I put in some weights to weight it down, I put on the lid, and I'm not very scientific with my fermented veg. Some people are a lot more scientific. I just put the lid on, I put some water in the gutter, and look at that, it's starting to frost.
It's quite soapy.
Yeah, I know, I don't know why it's like goes. The great thing about leek is that it won't go off. It's like indestructible. Nothing will eat it, so you can leave it for months and months and months in your pot.
Jars of baby leeks.
We went to saw them.
Really, really.
So I've got these weights.
Yeah.
Pop them on top. And I might actually tempted to have another little weight on top of that. The idea is that you pour water in the gutter and then the lid sits on top and the air can come out but it can't go in. So I'm going to do that in a minute, but just while I've got my leek left to pack, it's kind of
Oh, packing round too.
And that's the other thing. If you don't have a special pot, you just make it in a regular kiln jar. Are they called? French, they're parfait. It's not a good job for a big fist. The thing is, what you can look at, even just leaving it for an hour in the sun, it started to make quite a lot of juice.
How long will you leave it for?
And I'm not in a hurry to eat it, so I think it takes about a month, 6 weeks to make it into you know, a properly ferment it, but I'll probably leave it for 4 or 5 months. But what I'm going to show you is let's take this, and I'm just going to put a bit of water in the and it falls over the top. Because it's not really big enough on that one, but there you go. And that stops the air coming in, but allows it to get out. So, and then I've got, you know, the other. I had a little bit too much for the pot. So I made them in a jar. And this basically works the same. I've crammed it all in here, so you can see the crammed it all in, so it's like all the liquid's frosting. And then don't even need to weight it down or anything. I'll just close it. I tend to just do that, and it just ferments by itself in there, and I can open it up after a month. And this is actually a pot I made last year. So that's the colour change.
This is a year old.
Yeah, just a fermented
Yeah,
last
it kind of looks like sauerkraut.
but it's not. Where they are. I mean, it's not something you just eat as a dish. It's good along with other food. And it's got a kick. It really has got a super kick. Here we go. I'm going to wait a couple of months, maybe a bit longer, and should be good to eat.